This lesson demonstrates the use of some of the tags defined for the web.xml file. It's possible to include strings in the web.xml file and read them from inside a servlet. There are two ways to include strings. You can assign data to be available to a specific servlet or to be made available to all servlets. Here is an example of data being made available to any servlet that wants to read it. The enclosing tag is the context param. It's one of the web app elements defined with an asterisk, which means that you can have as many of these as you would like. It has two required subtags. The param name is the name that's being assigned to it, and the param value is the data string itself. This example is the declaration of a publicly available phone number. And here is the other type. As you can see, the init param tag is defined as a subtag of the servlet tag. This is data, but it is made available to only one servlet. Its subtags are the same, a param name and a param value. This example is the declaration of a telephone number that's being kept private by being made available to only the one servlet. Let me show you how to read these values from inside a servlet. The init method exists inside the superclass and can be overridden in your servlet. Now, this method is always called first. It's called right after the class is instantiated into an object. To be able to read either the public or the private parameter strings, you need to make a call to getServletConfig to return a servletConfig object. To read the private parameter values, you need to call getInitParameter with the parameter name, and the value string is returned to you. There could be a number of these, and you would need to make a separate call for each one. To read the private parameter values, you'll need to first make a call to the getServletContext method to return a servletContext object. Then you call getInitParameter once for each parameter value you wish to return. After the init method has finished execution, this servlet should have a copy of both phone numbers. This isn't a very fancy web page, but it does display the two strings it retrieved from the XML document. Here, let me show you. Here is the output from the servlet. You can see that it has retrieved and is displaying both telephone numbers. Now let me show you a couple of ways to handle error conditions. This web.xml document defines two error pages. These pages are applied to the entire application. Each page has its own error page tag that specifies the error that causes the page to be displayed and the location of the page to be displayed. Two different types of things can trigger an error page display. This one will be displayed by any servlet throwing an exception of the right type. You could have a number of different error pages defined, one for each type that you wish to respond to. You are probably familiar with the HTTP code. Everybody has gotten a 404 error page for trying to display a page that doesn't exist. Well, every server has its default page that it displays for these errors, but you can override that with a page of your own this way. Notice that the name of the page to be displayed is a full path name beginning with a slash. It can be one or more subdirectories deep, but the leading slash indicates that the search should begin in the application directory. Now, the error page can be an HTML page or a JSP. It can also be a servlet. All you have to do is put the servlet's class name here. Now, let me show you what happens when you try to access a page in the application that does not exist. Instead of the system error page, you get your custom page.